Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm visible and audible to everybody who has joined in today. My name is Pragya Srivastav. I'm manager at Ernst Young, and we are the process advisors for the World of Concrete Awards. Uh, First, before beginning, I would like to thank each and every one of you for removing time from your schedule and joining the session. I'm hoping that at the end of the session, most of your queries will be answered and you will get a fair idea on what the awards are, what are the categories, what are the eligibility criteria, and the entire process of the awards. So, without further ado, I will quickly present my screen and take you through the entire process. We will keep a substantial amount of time at the end to answer any queries if you may have so. So I will request that once we open the Q&A session, you can raise your hands and then we'll take it up one by one. So I'm straight away getting into the awards. This is going to be part of the 10th edition of the exhibition. And based on the feedback that we had received in the previous two editions, we have tried to incorporate it as much as possible in terms of, adding new categories or modifying the existing definition, ensuring that the entire ecosystem has been covered in the categories that we have for this year. So I'll explain each one of you. For few categories, we have also subdivided it into subcategories so that there is a correct comparison between the type of companies that are participating. So I'll explain that while we go through the categories one by one. I hope my screen is visible. I'll start with the first category. In case if you would want to ask me to explain it again, just you can unmute yourself and let me know. I'm just going to spend about a couple of minutes on each of the categories, the definitions and the parameters that we have put together. So, first and foremost, the category being project of the year. We have categorized this into two subcategories. So, all the building projects with respect to your residential, commercial buildings, institutes, all those elements or construction um, projects will be considered in the building category, and infrastructure will purely be your dams, tunnels, bridges, those sort of projects that you would have undertaken. Now, here in this category, primarily the jury will be evaluating that specific project, whether you apply in building or in infrastructure. I do understand that this category is as such that a lot of times it's not a complete project. There are a lot of things that happen in phases, especially if it's a tunnel or it's a road, nothing gets completed on time. So once we explain the eligibility to you, we would request you that whichever project you are selecting, ensure that the substantial amount of work that has happened on that project falls into our period, and also ensure that you bring out the aspects which are not really covered with respect to the parameters that we have. So it's important that while you fill up the application form which is present on our website, you bring out the information which is already completed, so it gives a sense to the jury as well. And in case if it's an ongoing project, do keep in mind that at least 50% and more of the work should fall into our period. Otherwise, it will not be a correct comparison between the other entries that come into this specific category. And since it's project based, it's important that sub majority of the period falls into our the eligibility period that we have defined. Now, in terms of parameters, these are again indicative. There will be a discussion that will happen with the jury in case if they want to make certain tweaks. But on a broader level, these parameters are kept in mind while we were defining the entries. And also, when you fill the application form online, you will see that the questions we have asked are in line with these parameters, right? So, automatically, when the jury is going through your application form, they would know that these are the questions belonging to these parameters, and accordingly you'll be rated, right? So for project of the year, like I mentioned, it's a single standalone project for both building and infrastructure category. So in terms of parameters, design is something that will be taken into consideration. The scale and complexity of the project, and how has concrete played a significant role in uh, building the base or the infrastructure or the structure for that particular project, right? Quality is a must because we are dealing with a product here. So how has that contributed in ensuring that it's a robust a property that you have created in terms of building or infrastructure, and what has been the impact of that innovation in the project which you have implemented. So these four aspects are something that you should be highlighting while you answer the application form, and also attach supporting documents as much as possible to support your entry, because these kind of awards, it is extremely important that you know they actually see that what is the progress of your particular of the project, and pictures, videos, any sort of compliance or quality related checks that you would have done by an external third party. All those documentation will really help in the jury to assess your entry better. So definitely encouraging you all of you all to upload your supporting documents. Moving forward, category number 2, excellence in architectural design. Again, this category is further divided into buildings and infrastructure. This is purely focused on um, sorry, this is purely focused on the architectural design of the property, right? What sort of innovation or what sort of say technological intervention the organization has taken in order to ensure that either the building or the infrastructure, the facade of the building, or the look and feel of the building, how have they presented it innovatively to the end audience. So, purely to do with the aesthetic appeal, functionality, usability, how are you also ensuring that you are environmental friendly, and how are you ensuring that this is something unique, right? And um, something that would have been done in India for the first time. So these are the things that you can bring out while you write your application. And definitely focus on the architectural design aspect of the project that you will be entering. Be very specific that do not combine multiple projects in one application. It is important that each of the categories need to be specifically for a certain project. So in case if in the eligibility period you have multiple projects against this, so we will request you to fill separate application forms, because then it becomes easier for the jury to compare project versus project, right? Moving on to the third category, which is excellence in structural design. Now, as the name suggests, this is primarily to do with the structural design of the project. What are the techniques, what are the engineering structural processes in place to ensure that this is something, a robust construct is created, and how is it actually contributing to the best interest of the end consumer. We have also seen in the past, at least in the last few months, there have been a lot of incidents that have happened in terms of a lot of structural projects, um, unfortunately impacting a lot of lives, right? So as organizers who are ensuring that the foundation is being set straight, it is important what are the sort of quality standards you have, what are the things that is being kept in mind, the permissions that you require, in case there are specific products used in for building up that particular project. How are you environmentally safe in terms of putting this together? These elements is something that you must highlight in your application. Purely the difference between the second category and the third category is first is the design aspect, and third is the structural design of the entire project. I'm moving on to the next set of categories that we have. Uh, so in the previous slide, we saw project specific category. Now we are going to be discussing product specific category. So we had received an overwhelming response in the previous two editions also for the product of the year category, because we know there are a lot of good work, research, innovation happening in this space, right? We have retained this category, and we have just redefined our subcategories in this, because we understand that there are different type of products, definitely apart from these three also, but on a larger scale, to ensure that we are covering the ecosystem. These are the prominent three product categories that subcategories that we have in place. So one being cement, again, self-explanatory. There are various cement brands, right? So those can participate in this. It's purely for that particular segment. Concrete admixtures is another one. Uh, Again, we would request the participants to elaborate on what are the different unique features that your product offers as compared to something in the competition, right? Similarly, for concrete reinforcement products, all these three categories, cement, concrete admixtures, and reinforcement products, we will be requesting the participants to highlight the innovative aspect. Why is your product better than the others? How is it easy in terms of you getting used by the end user and whoever is the target audience, and also impact and qualitative effectiveness. Whatever products, etc., you are using, how will it ensure that the end result, as expected, is something has been delivered, and definitely quality and cost effectiveness, because we understand there are several players in each of these markets, right? Or each of these segments. So how are you cost effective, but also not compromising on quality? So these four aspects are something that we will be requesting the participants to elaborate when they fill this application. Yes, sorry. My network had dropped. I hope my screen is still visible. Moving forward, we have the next set of categories. So this is something that again was there in our previous edition as well, which is excellence in repairs, restoration, and retrofitting. These are specifically project centric category again, like we had seen in the other ones. And this will be purely on projects which have is something that is not created for the first time, but the repair work, etc., which is done on an existing property, existing project, so to say. So here in this case, we understand that maybe the project will not fall into our eligibility criteria, but like I mentioned previously, we have to ensure that this is not something newly created, and whatever activity that has been performed by the organization to ensure that they're repairing and restoring any structural um, property. Now that could be any building, could be any institute. There are several you know um, what do I say? There are several important institutes from a tourism perspective also, right? So those sort of restoration work, etc., in case if the organization is into, they can apply in this particular category. So here also, in terms of evaluation, the aesthetic and structural integrity of the entire project, it will be taken into consideration. So definitely what it was prior to the construction and repair work, and what happened afterwards. So that is going to be taken into consideration. Also the durability of the work that has been done. So in case if it has been done a year prior, right, and you're applying in for this edition, so we will definitely go back and check with you all, and also if the jury requires, we will be going back to the end user here in case to check that how durable was this work done, right? What was the sort of innovation that was used? Now there are such large infrastructure or building projects, so how has technology played a role in ensuring that things, there was a quick turnaround? Because in these cases we understand that uh, all these projects or properties are being in use currently, so you can't like spend too much time in repairing, etc., because there is also a time period that would have been given to you. So that is also something that we would want you to highlight in the application form, that what was the time period given to you and how have you ensured that you have turned around the things in time, with maintaining quality standards as well. And in terms of project complexity, if there was anything, you can highlight that as well. How did you execute it? Right. So these will be the parameters that will be evaluated for this particular category. Going forward from here, we have added a couple of new categories based on the suggestions of the jury members last year. Um, in terms of so we did have a technology innovation category, but what we also realized in the previous edition was that the type of technology that was entered in this particular category was very different, and also because the size of the organization is very different, the investment that is being done by these organizations, and for developing this particular technology or solution also varies. So it was not giving a very correct comparison when there were different type of institutes participating. So what we have done this year is to ensure that there is a fair evaluation done for each of the organizations participating. We have divided this into three subcategories. First being startups, second being the MSMEs, and third being the large corporates, right? For each of these, we have defined what are the kind of organizations that we're looking at, because once you get shortlisted and you move to the next round, all these documentation will be mandatory to be submitted. So in case if you're a startup, then we will be requiring a DPID certificate. In case if you're an MSME, we would require an MSME certificate. And for a large corporate, sorry, for a large corporate, so sorry, please, excuse me for my cold. Yes, Preetham, I do see that you've raised your hand. Let me just complete this category and then come back to you if there is any question pertaining to you.
Okay.
So, like I was explaining, MSME, for an MSME, you need to have an MSME certificate. It's important. You may not have it at this point of time, but we would request that before the the grand jury round, you have this in place, because otherwise, from an audit trail wise, it becomes difficult to check the documentation. Also, in terms of large corporates, anybody who's above 250 crores, you need to have a valid incorporation or GST certificate. And like I mentioned, this category particularly focuses on um, technology or solution that you have implemented for a particular project, and um, something which is definitely commercialized in the market. It's not something which is work in progress and not launched. So it is that's why we've written commercial viability. It's important that whatever solution or processes you have in place in order to, and technology supporting it, it needs to be available in the market. So yeah, so before I move ahead, yes, Preetham, you had a question. Was it pertaining to this category?
Yes. Pragya, since you have mentioned that concrete technology advancement award, in which one category is startup, and in the second point you are mentioning MSME, which turnover up to 250 crore.
Yeah.
So we are 8 year, 8 year running company.
Okay.
Okay. And we had earlier a startup this thing DPIT award
Mm. Mm.
approved, and now we are MSME.
Okay.
So
So
what
yes, so
sort
then
of
in that case, you will apply in the MSME category.
MSME can? Okay.
Yes. It's
Okay.
a fair question that you've asked because there are a lot of startups who are initially startups and in the period of time they eventually grow in becoming an MSME. So whatever
Right.
is your existing based on the turnover, wherever you fit into existingly, you can apply in that particular category.
Okay. Sure. Thank you.
Okay, great. Moving on to the next set of categories, excellence in research and development. This again being an important one, where we understand that there is a lot of research and development happening in this space. What we have done is, since we wanted to cover the ecosystem and all the other categories that we have are focusing on the concrete industry organizations, this research and development category particularly is focusing on entries coming in from students who are, PhDs researching in this field, and also institutes. Right, there are a lot of institutes who offer say real estate or concrete industry understanding as a subject in their institute, right? So what are the sort of research work that is happening from an institute standpoint, or a group of PhD students working together on something which they want to apply for the awards. So here, like I mentioned, there will be a slight change in terms of our eligibility, because this is something that would be at an idea stage, maybe at a prototype stage, but not something which is launched in the market, right? Because again, this is going to be WIP. So the evaluation also will be done in that manner by the jury, that they'll see that what is the potential of the idea or the research paper that they are focusing, what sort of problems are they actually solving through this research, what are the sort of research uh, they have progressed in the amount of time that they have invested into this, and what is the potential of this particular uh, solution or research that you're coming up with into commercial market. Because we have also seen that there are a lot of great ideas in the market, but eventually, it's not practical, or it's not something which will eventually solve a purpose of a pressing problem in the market. So these are the parameters that the jury members are going to keep in mind specifically for this category. Moving on to the eighth category, which is green concrete initiative. So again, as the entire exhibition stands on to being, and the industry also, stands on to being environmentally friendly, we have retained this category again. And these are going to be specific initiatives or projects that have been taken up by the organization on how are they promoting environmental friendly processes and practices. Could be some elements that they are using in a product, or it could be an implementation activity that the organization would have done. So any sort of efforts or initiatives that have been taken by the organization towards the environment and promoting environment friendly practices will be assessed in this category. And as the name suggests, the parameters also will be in the same line, that what are the sort of materials that you're using, how are you replacing your regular products with something which is environmental friendly, what has been the impact of that in the community. Are you also how are you educating the people, or people who are using that product, and also the end user, so that they do appreciate the fact that these products and services are something which is not harming the environment. So these are the sort of things that we would want you to bring it out in your application, um, and specifically highlight on the sustainable practices or the environmental friendly practices that you'll be adopting, and how have you replaced your regular uh, product processes with something which is environmental friendly. moving on to the last two very important categories. We understand based on the research that even we performed, and again, like I mentioned, our dipstick um, on the research as well as the inputs that we got from the jury members in our advisory board. We know for a fact that MSME is something, MSMEs in this space are doing some exceptional work, right? And although we understand that there are a lot of challenges for an MSME to even operate, and with getting into such a niche industry and surviving is also something that is commendable. So, keeping that aspect in mind, we wanted to ensure that we recognize specifically an MSME for who is working relentlessly in the concrete industry. So now the difference between this and the concrete technology category that we saw previously, here the MSME will be evaluated at an organization level. So the participants who are interested in applying in this category, we would want you to mention any innovation or any initiative that the organization has taken, not for a specific project, but as a practice, as an MSME, how are you contributing to this industry? Different type of innovation. So this may not be restricted to only one innovation. In case if you have done multiple things, which you feel is extremely unique, right? And with, like I said, limited support being given either financially or by the government, there are still a lot of these MSMEs who are doing so well. So how are you able to survive? What has been your contribution to the industry? Overall organization level um, at par, and what are the sort of business operations, growth strategy that you have in order to survive and sustain in this particular industry. So the jury members will be evaluating you on an organization level and not for a specific project. That project, if at all there is and there has been a technology intervention, you can definitely apply in the concrete technology category. But here, when you are answer it from an organization standpoint. Different type of innovation or strategies, etc., that you've adopted to survive in this particular industry, right? And also from a growth plan, how do you see yourself growing in this industry in the next 5 years or next 10 years? So that vision is also something which is required for you to fill in the application form. It will definitely help your case when the jury is evaluating the entries. Uh, Now, last but not the least, we have one individual category, which is consultant of the year. This was also something that for which we had received a lot of requests last couple of years as well. That consultants really play an important role, right? Because again, this entire industry is huge, and a lot of times there are individuals who have spent considerable amount of time in this industry and are extremely well aware about a lot of things that help the companies sail through an existing problem, right? So, which is why we have this consultant of the year as a category. So here we want individual consultants. That individual consultant could be a founder of an organization, or he could be working into an organization that provides consultancy. But ultimately, the person who is receiving this award will be an individual. So since you all are at the receiving end, if you all know any of your respective consultants who you feel will be good enough and has done considerable amount of work in this field, definitely encourage them to apply for this. Currently, we are restricting individuals who are based in India, because we do know that for few projects you might be receiving consultation from people who are based internationally. But currently, for our awards, since it's World of Concrete India, we are focusing only on individuals who are based out of India, right? So, in terms of parameters, again, this will be purely on what has the individual's contribution been in terms of providing those sort of suggestions, uh, addressing the problem statement which you as an organization be struggling to deliver, and how has it made an impact. and overall being in the industry, what has been that person's contribution. So these are the things that the individual can highlight. From an eligibility standpoint, we have mentioned that anybody who has more than 10 years of experience can only participate, so that we have a correct comparison of entries, and also there will be certain amount of work that will be done by these consultants, which will be good uh, base to evaluated by the jury members. So, which is why we have kept this eligibility. So, do recommend the consultants that you all are working with to apply for this category. With this, I think we have concluded all the 10 categories that we have for this edition. Moving on to the eligibility criteria, we have kept it very simple as our last 2 years. Um, any organization that is participating should have completed minimum 1 year, right? So we know that there are startups and MSMEs also that are participating, but minimum 1 year of existence is required, because any project or product that you will be participating for the award should be in the market for at least 1 year, so that even from an accessibility point of view, we are able to assess uh, the response in the market, and how are you actually uh, surviving, and what has been the impact of your innovation or initiative in the industry. So minimum 1 year of existing business operations in India is required. In terms of nomination period, we have kept it the last 2 years, which is any product or project that has been launched between April 2020 to March 2024. Like I mentioned, that if it's a product or a project, it should not be, if it's a product or an idea, especially when a startup and MSME is applying even for a technology award, it should not be work in progress. It should be a completed project. For product of the year, in case if there is any substantial change that has been made in the last 2 years of an existing product, that is also allowed. But it is important that the specific product which you're applying for is should be available in the market, because when we will be inviting you for the jury session, you can carry samples to even show it to the jury members. So commercially launched product is something that is definitely required. In terms of process, a slight change. Yes, Harshita, I see your hand. I'm just on the last slide. As soon as I'm done with this, I'll take it up with you on the question that you have. In terms of the process, what we have realized that it is important that the finalist or the shortlisted nominees get a fair chance to explain their initiative to the jury members. So this time we are trying to have a process where once the entries are received and EY completes their eligibility checks initially, we will have 2 rounds of jury process. One which will be based on the applications and supporting documents that you will be submitting at this stage. And top 3 finalists in each of the categories and subcategories will be invited for a physical or a virtual jury session, primarily because we would want the jury members to, have a conversation with you. There will be a lot of information that they may have, they would want to ask you while going through the application form. So this is a new change that we have brought, so that everybody gets an equal opportunity to present their case to the jury, and then based on their scores, we will be determining the winners. So yeah, that's it from my side. I'm going to stop my screen and then take the questions. Yeah, Harshita, I can see your hand. Please ask
Yeah,
your question.
yeah, this is Kaushik this side. I
Yes.
just wanted to ask in the project of the year, earlier when you were
Mm,
presenting, you said even 50% of the project completed will
yeah.
be, and the final slide you were showing that finished product, finished project. So there was a little ambiguity. So I just wanted to get that
Yes. So,
clarified.
like I said, it should not be work in progress for a product category, because we want that. So there are 2 categories, right? There's project of the year and there is product of the year. For a product category, it need not be in an idea stage. It should be something which is commercially sold in the market. For project of the year, we understand none of the projects are going to get over only in 2 years. So for that particular category, if 50% or more work has happened in the last 2 years as per our eligibility, we will take it into consideration.
Thank you.
Okay, Pragya ji, one question from my side.
Yes.
Can I?
Yes, Preetham, please.
So, I wanted to participate for two products. One is for cement and one is for concrete. One is as a product and one is as a project. So my project is almost completed in last 2 years.
Okay.
It is in commissioning stage. I mean, final commissioning stage. Machine is running at Ultratech cement plant, our group. Okay, so that is first time in India, or even I can say it is in first time in the world. We have initiated and innovated. That is cement wet lab. Okay, and so one is this category, that is the project category, and other is the product category, which is automatic admixture dosing, wherein we have supplied almost 15 number of product in transit mixtures. So, and we have got some significant orders from Ultratech cement complete this thing. So can we participate for two categories?
Absolutely. Yes, there is no limit in applying for only one categories or two categories. If you have a different type of projects, different type of products, you can apply as many number of times. But it is important that it needs to be unique. Same product
Yeah,
you cannot apply for same categories. If it
absolutely.
is applicable for that category, you can. There's no limit on that to that.
And what is the fee structure? You can tell us.
Nestor, if you can help with that, please.
Yeah, so there are no fees in this awards. It's complimentary. So you can nominate as many nominations you want.
Okay, so there's no entry fee for this.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, Kaushik, your hand is still up. Is there anything else you would want to ask?
No, thanks. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions anybody has? The recording of this AMA session will be uploaded on the website. Our website is also self-explanatory. There are all the details of the categories, etc., that is present. So if there is any other, yes, Preetham.
Okay, one more. What is the last date to fill in the application?
So last date as of now is 13th September.
13th September.
Yeah.
Okay. And we will get nomination form from your mail.
Yes, it is also on the website, Preetham. We'll just paste the website link on our chat as well. So you can visit the website, go through the details, and then apply directly as well.
Okay.
We have mentioned Nestor's contact details on the website. In case even after this, if there is any query that you may have while answering the application form or understanding of any category, you can write to him and he'll direct the queries to us, and we'll be happy to help. Okay. Nestor, anything from your side?
No, that's all. So only one thing that where Mr. Pritham mentioned about multiple projects. So just ensure that one nomination form contains one project, and for another project you have to use a separate form. So don't mention all the initiatives in one form.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. And also, although we understand that the deadline is in couple of months. But we would encourage you to apply as early as possible. Reason being, in case if there is any changes that is required in your form, if there is anything additionally, we would want you to submit. So there is some time in hand for you to make those changes and send it back to us. So we will encourage you to send in your applications at the earliest, so that there is some time in hand to make corrections if required.
Sure.
Any other questions if anybody has?
This is Ritesh here.
Yes, yes, Ritesh.
If you are using some unique product in the project, should it be used for product of the year or the project of the year? Hello. Hello.
I think Pragya lost a connection. So if you're using product in a particular project of the year, so I recommend you nominate under the product of the year, because you want to mention more about the product, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you use the application for product of the year.
Okay.
Yes, yes, Kajal.
Yeah, so my question, we can apply to multiple awards like product projects also if someone is eligible for MSME.
Yes,
So
yes,
more
you
than
can
two.
do that. You
Also,
can
one more
apply.
question
Yeah.
related to the student.
Mhm.
So for that, like what will be the eligibility?
So it has to be, this is for the category R&D, right? Research and development.
Right.
Yeah.
Excellence.
Here, it has to be an idea where they are in a particular institute, first of all, and they have an idea and they have submitted this project to their management. And, and all this will be considered under eligibility. It can't be like someone who's not part of an institute or something, but they have to be a part of an institute where they have done this research and they have to submit all their
Okay.
documents.
So, Kajal, if I may answer, so here you have to nominate for the project or the research work that you're doing in your academia. So, an institute will need to apply in this category.
Okay. Okay.
So sorry, my internet had dropped. Have we answered Ritesh's query?
Yes, Pragya, we have.
Okay. If we don't have any,
One
yeah,
more question.
yes.
Like patent plays any role into this project?
We are so sorry, Kajal, but your voice is breaking. Can you repeat your question?
The patent.
Patent, yes.
Does it play a role into this? Like something is mandatory or regarding the project should be there or
Can you type your question in the chat box, Kajal? We could hear you in the middle. I heard patent and then the rest, so not able to understand properly. Does patent play any role? Not really. You can just mention um, uh, that you have a patent for this product. The only way it will help is then that means it's something unique and you are the only ones who hold it, right? So it will be a good mention that you can have, you can mention this in the application form. So a good information for the jury. But in case if it is something that you have applied but it has not been granted, then you also mention that information as well. At what stage of the patent process your innovation or product is at. Great. Yeah, Ritesh, do you have any other question?
No.
Okay. Okay, great. I think we had a wonderful session. There were a lot of questions asked. Like I mentioned, at any given point of time, once you start filling the application form, if there is anything where you need our assistance, please write to us, and we'll be happy to address everything. Before we conclude the session, we would request if everybody can come on video, and we'll just take a quick picture so that it can be used by the organizers. Everybody can put up a nice smile. So I know we have done a good session today. Did we get it? Nesta, Ankita?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, everybody, on behalf of Informa as well as EY. Thank you so much for attending the call. I hope it was useful and you all have some idea now about the awards. And we are looking forward to receiving your applications. Thank you so much and have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.